Hello everyone and welcome to A Network Achievement. It is a new day and for that I have chosen a quote from Albert Schweitzer that reads, "If you love what you are doing, you will be successful." Personally, I love this quote just because it shows that being determined and working hard for what you want, you will be achieving it in the end. My name is Ms.Ana-Flores and I will be tutoring you for today. For this video, we will be focusing on reading comprehension. To begin our session, we will be focusing on style in writing. We have 4 types of styles when reading or writing, and the first one being persuasive writing. This style in writing is where the writer includes opinions and provides justifications and evidence to support their claims. This is trying to convince the reader of a certain position or argument. This can be lots of fun just because you are trying to persuade the reader into your writing. Hey, I am right and you are wrong. Or in other words, hey, I am right and this is why you should agree with me. Examples follow with letters of recommendation, editorial newspapers, or argumentative essays for academic papers. These are just a few examples for persuasive writing. Up next, we have narrative style in writing, often seen in longer writing samples. The purpose of this writing style is to share information in the context of a story. Examples follow with short stories, novels, poetry, historical accounts, and with narrative style in writing, we will be doing lots of reading in future sessions, where we can read out loud and analyze it together. The third style in writing is personally my favorite. It is called expository style in writing. This type of writing is used to explain a concept and share information to a broader audience. It provides evidence, statistics, or results and focuses on the facts of a certain topic. This type is not meant to express opinions. That being said, do not be biased. Being biased is when you have a strong opinion over something or a certain topic. So please keep your opinions to yourself and just write about true information. And it may be difficult to find this evidence, to find this information, but do not worry. Later in the session, I will be guiding you through this style in writing. The last style in writing that we will be talking about is descriptive style in writing. This type of writing is used to depict imagery to create a clear picture in the mind of the reader. This method helps the reader become more connected to the writing by appealing to their senses. Examples are poetry, fictional novels, or plays. And with descriptive writing, we have a lot of figurative language. And in my opinion, I do want to say that descriptive writing is the art in writing and reading. This descriptive writing style is the art and beauty of words. So now let's dig in and go into the elements of each style in writing. Persuasive writing has 3 elements, and the first one being ethos. Ethos establishes the speaker's credibility or authority. For example, an author might state their occupation or experience to establish their credibility. Second being pathos. This appeals to the audience emotions. For example, an author might use vivid language, examples or stories to evoke a feeling like sympathy or anger. Pathos shows a lot of emotion, so keep that in mind. Logos appeals to the audience logic or reason. For example, an author might use facts and statistics to make logical connections between ideas. Logos is just like expository style in writing, where tell me the evidence, tell me the true facts within the writing. Alright, now following up next, we have narrative style in writing. This style has 10 elements. Do not be scared. 10 elements seems like a lot, but really it isn't. These 10 elements is what creates a story. Without them, there is no story whatsoever. The first one being character. We need character. We need you and me, because if we're not here, this session does not exist. So characters are very important, which are a person or other being in a story. These can be based in real or fictional beings, but character are the ones that are trying to entertain you. Setting is the time and place where a story occurs. We need a setting because we can have you or me floating around in the sky. We need to show, hey, we are at a desk, we are at school, we are at home, we are at an office. Wherever you are, just describe it. What is the temperature, the weather, what is next to you, behind you, in front of you? Just describe that feeling and that setting in that environment. Third one is dialogue. Dialogue is simply a conversation. Without dialogue, you won't be able to know characteristics or the personality of your characters. That's why dialogue is so important. Conflict is the fourth one. Conflict is what entertains you into reading a story. This is the main struggle in the story that needs to be resolved. It is the problem. Without conflict, it's like you're telling me a daily routine. That's pretty boring. You're telling me a timeline. That's boring. Like, I don't want to learn about, history, or I don't want to learn about, what you do every day, all day. I want to know, hey, did you slip and fall? Did that change the entire plot of the story? What happened? What was the shift? What made you catch the reader into keep on reading this? What made them continue reading this? Then we have theme. Without theme, there is no point of reading anything at all, because theme is the main idea or underlying meaning of a story. This is the message. Theme, you can write it in your own words, into one word or a phrase, but theme basically shows you what the overall story was about. What was it about? Just tell me in your own words. And then we have plot. Plot is the sequence of events that, in order, tells a story. Plot is telling you from beginning to end. Always keep it in order. Also, another thing that I wanted to add is do not go into details when writing plot, just because this is more of being straight to the point. So that is what plot is all about. Be straight to the point. Do not tell me, hey, my mom did this, did that, my friend, my cousin, my teacher. No, tell me about you, your story, not outside characters. Not, hey, I went dancing. No, we're talking about a hurricane. We really don't want to, an outside scene of you dancing before the hurricane. So just give me the important parts of the story. Point of view is the position from which something or someone is observed. Who is telling you the story? Is it an outside character or is it an inside character? Who is telling this story? Next up, we have tone. This is the story's tone, is the overall feeling or mood of the story. It can be used to create a specific atmosphere within the story. Tone is how you feel when reading a certain part of a book, a chapter, a short story, or a passage. Then we have antagonist and protagonist. I included both because some books are only filled with bad characters or good characters, and the bad one being antagonist. The antagonist is the story's main opponent. They're the one who is standing in the way of the protagonist's goal. Then the protagonist, he is the leading character or one of the major characters. So like I said, antagonist and protagonist can be main characters, and we just need to see what is what and which is which, right? Now, plot has its own elements. It consists of 5 elements that I will be telling you today. This is a chain of events that make up a story. And the first one being exposition. For one, tell me the conflict. In exposition, you have to tell me the conflict. What is happening in the story that is causing chaos, that is causing struggles between characters? Second of all, tell me the main character. Who is it? Or is it multiple character? Third off, we have setting. Tell me where this is taking place. Up next, we have rising action. The rising action is the main parts of a story, which includes the problem, usually set up in 3 to 4 events. This creates suspense, interest, and tension. Rising action is basically you telling me what the conflict has caused. So the little problems caused by the big problem, right? And then third off, which is the tipping point of the mountain or the pyramid, is climax. It is the turning point of a story, usually the most exciting or surprising part of the story. The climax is the shift of the story. Take that in mind. What happened that changed everything? Something that was probably getting you prepared for in the rising action, or something you weren't expecting at all. And then falling action is the events that follow the climax. Straight up tell me what happened right after the climax, the turning point, the shift. Last of all, we have resolution, which is the end of a story where all the loose ends are tied up. How did it end? I kind of don't like resolution just because resolution has solution inside of the word, and if you think about it, solution is, hey, we got it, right? We won. But not all stories end with a happy ending. And one of the famous, novels is Shakespeare with Romeo and Juliet. So that did not end quite nice, right? So now let's continue on with theme and thesis. What are they? So a theme is the main idea of a paper, like I said before. It can be described in a word or a short phrase, and these themes are demonstrated throughout the work by the content. Within a longer piece, such as an article or book, there can be multiple themes. Oftentimes, they are divided by chapters or headings. Themes offer some room for interpretation, while the overall message should be received the same by each reader. The words they use to describe it has some flexibility. That being said, theme right there, you have to tell me in your own words what this book, chapter, passage, short story was about. Your friend can say the same thing in her own words. However, you will know when you got the theme wrong when you wrote about anger and everyone else wrote about ice cream. Now you know that you weren't paying attention or you didn't understand the story at all. So that is what theme is all about. Hey, just use it in your own words. What was this story about? And just don't get confused, okay? And then next up, we have thesis statement. This is an argument that the writer constructs throughout the work. It can be described in a phrase, sentence, or even a paragraph. The thesis statement must define the purpose of the paper, mention the points you'll explore, and serve as an abbreviated summary of the work. Thesis statement is longer than theme, but without theme, we do not have a thesis statement. Without a thesis statement, we do not have an essay to write. And the thesis statement is more of, what do you believe? What did you agree on or disagree on? So that is basically thesis statement. Just argue your position. Am I right? Am I wrong? Or are they wrong? Or are they right? So let's continue on with expository elements. With expository elements, we have 8. The first one being structure. Expository writing can have a variety of structures such as cause and effect, compare and contrast, descriptive, problem and solution, or sequence. Next up, we have thesis statement. A clear, concise, and defined thesis statement is a key element of an expository essay. Third, we have transitions. Logical transitions between the introduction, body, and conclusion are essential for a smooth progression from sentence to sentence. Fourth, we have evidence and examples. Expository writing uses evidence and examples to support the main idea. Fifth, we have conclusion. The conclusion should readdress the thesis in light of the evidence provided, rather than simply restating it. Just say it differently. Do not repeat yourself at all. Language is the 6th one. Expository writing uses clear and concise language. Do not use LOL. No, write it all down. Laugh out loud. Language is very important because this should be in a professional style in writing. Sources is expository writing uses reliable sources. Sources is so important because where are you getting this information? And is it right or is it wrong? You have to know where to get your sources or your information. The last one being descriptive details. Descriptive details can be used to create a vivid image in the reader's mind. So, steps to understand if a source is reliable. How do I know? Well, first off, authority. Who is the author? What are their credentials? Do they have knowledgeable experience in the field they are writing about? What is their reputation? 2 is accuracy. Compare the author's information to that which you already know is reliable. Are there proper citations? Is the information biased? If so, does it affect research conclusions? So accuracy is, do they have opinions? Because opinions are a straight up no. 3 is coverage. Is the information relevant to your topic and does it meet your needs? Consider what you need, such as statistics, charts, and graphs. Coverage is more of, hey, I need evidence, I need charts, I need pictures. So is this article or source good enough for me? And last of all, 4. This is currency. Is your topic constantly evolving? Topics in technology and medical innovation require sources that are up to date. Currency means, hey, get facts that are current, that are from either 3 years or over. Just because if it's more than 3 years, you have to get another source because everything changes through time. Technology is expanding, knowledge is expanding, and life expands itself. So make sure that all of your sources are up to date. Next up, we have how to structure an essay. I believe in the rule of 5 and 5. This is just the minimum because 5 paragraphs is the minimum and 5 sentences in each paragraph. However, take in mind some teachers and professors do want you to write more, and I would be that teacher. But other than that, the minimum would be 5 and 5, and the first paragraph should be your introduction. First off, the hook. Hey, catch your reader. Have them continue on reading your essay. Second off is background. What is this entire essay going to be about? Third off is your thesis statement. Remember, thesis statement is your argument. The middle paragraphs are events or topics. This basically discusses what your entire essay is going to be about. Go into detail, elaborate, really dig in, and actually put a lot of information in. Like I said, the minimum is 5 sentences, but you can go more. But take in mind, do not go overboard just because you can add another paragraph with that. And also, another thing I wanted to discuss is that these right here, I only added 3 because like I said, the rule of 5 and 5, minimum 5 paragraphs and 5 sentences in each paragraph. However, some teachers or professors want more, and what is more is the middle paragraphs, which are the events and topics. Last off is the conclusion. This should be your last paragraph. For one, it has to have a summary. What was this entire essay about? Number 2, what is so important about this topic? Really tell them. It's more like a thesis statement. It's your argument. And last of all, your strong closing statement. This shows you why was it so important and fascinating to read. This is basically your hook rewritten. Moving forward, we will be discussing the last style in writing, which is descriptive elements, right? So their elements are 4, and the first one being vivid details, specific details, paint a picture in the reader's mind and appeal to the reader's senses. Descriptive writing may also go beyond creating a strong sensory impression to give the readers a picture of the feeling the descriptive evokes of the writer. Take in mind what I said. Vivid details, more like figurative language, imagery, art, beauty, love. I love descriptive writing. So second off is figurative language. Remember I said that. Tools of the writer's craft such as analogy, simile, and metaphor add the depth of the author's descriptions. Third off, we have precise language. General adjectives, nouns, and passive verbs are used sparingly. Instead of specific adjectives and nouns and struck action verbs, give life to the picture being painted in the reader's mind. So, in descriptive style in writing, this can be very difficult because of the chosen words that the reader or the writer chose in order to create this poem, poetry, novel, whatever the case is. And last off, we have thoughtful organization. Some ways to organize descriptive writing include chronological, which is time, spatial, which is location, and order of importance. Descriptive writing about a person might begin with a physical description followed by how the person thinks, feels, and acts. So please take in mind, with descriptive writing, this is already difficult to read and understand. So sometimes you need to reread it twice or 3 times. And with descriptive writing, just take your time. Go slow. No need to rush. Because with descriptive writing, it's art. Really focus on the art of the words that was chosen by the author. Alright, up next we have figurative language. I listed the 6 that I believe are the most important ones when you read. So the first one being simile. A simile is a figure of speech that compares two unlike things and uses the words like or as, and they are commonly used everyday communication. A simile is used with the aim of sparking an interest connection in the reader's mind. One example is, you are as fast as a cheetah, which means you are going very fast, of course. And with metaphor, it's a little bit similar like a simile, but quite different, right? So a metaphor is a statement that compares two things that are not alike. Unlike similes, metaphors do not use the words like or as. Such statements only make sense when the reader understands the connection between the two things being compared. An example is, her eyes were stars, which means that her eyes were sparkling and beautiful, comparing them to shining quality of stars in the night sky. For me, this is a beautiful metaphor because if you want to get a girl, I feel like this is a perfect line for her. Her eyes were stars. You are sparkling and beautiful. Alright, up next we have hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggeration that is created to emphasize a point or bring out a sense of humor. It is often used in everyday conversations without the speaker noticing it. An example is, I have read this book 1,000 times. Have you really read this book 1,000 times? No, but maybe quite a few times, right? Number 4 is personification. Personification is the attribute of human characteristics to non-living objects. Using personification affects the way readers imagine things, and it sparks an interest in the subject. A good example is, the silence in the room spoke volumes. This is a good example of personification because when you are silent out of nowhere in your room, you know something bad or something is happening. Someone probably walked in and you're probably, hey, let me be silent because either I'm in trouble or I'm going to be told to do something. Number 5 is onomatopoeia, which is when you call something by the sound that it makes. An example is boom. So this basically imitates the sound. So instead of saying the dog barked, you can say the dog went woof woof. And then the last of all, we have alliteration. This literacy technique uses the repetition of similar consonant sounds to create more powerful and memorable sentences, making it a great way to grab your reader's attention. A good example is, the beautiful bouquet blossomed in the bright sun. B, 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 B. In B for beautiful, B for bouquet, B for blossom, and B for bright. Alright, so last of all, we have poems. Poems are beautiful. They're descriptive style writing. And when you read a poem, read the poem twice in a row. Take note of what you noticed the second time that wasn't so apparent in your first reading. Look for figurative language and its symbolism throughout the poem. Try to identify a meter if there is one. Is there a free verse with no fixed rhyme scheme or meter? Notice point of view. When pondering what the poem means, consider the mindset of the speaker. Read poem by sentence, not by line. Read a stanza at a time. All right, so last of all, we have types of rhyme schemes. Since we went over poems, we need to know what are rhyme schemes. A poem's rhyme scheme can be anything the poet wants it to be, but here's a list of some of the more common rhyme schemes. Number 1, alternative rhyme is A-B-A-B, or C-D-C-D, or E-F-E-F, and so on. This is the rhyme scheme typically used in ballads. 2, coupled rhyme is any rhyme scheme in which rhymes occurs in pairs, such as AA, BB, CC. The rhymes themselves are called couplets. Number 3, monorhyme is a term used for poems that use just one rhyme throughout the entire poem, as in AAAA. 4, enclosed rhyme is the term used for sandwich rhyme schemes like ABA or ABBA. 5, simple four-line rhyme follows a pattern of ABCB. Last one, chain rhyme describes rhyme schemes in which stanzas are linked together by rhymes that carry over from one stanza to the next, as in ABA, BCB, CDC, and so on. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this session, and I'll see you guys next time. You guys enjoy. Bye!